Sardar Patel, the man who united India, from the book by Balraj Kishan. Part 3. Mountbatten saved the situation for the Nizam by agreeing to reach a standstill agreement with Hyderabad on 25th November. Nehru wrote to Patel, "I've just heard on the radio that Hyderabad agreement has been signed. Congratulations. Whether this puts an end to the trouble there or not is a matter of doubt." Patel's reply was pragmatic. "It gives us breathing time and gives Nizam plenty of scope to think over and to deal with the Frankenstein. Yes, with the Frankenstein, which he has created in his agitation, in his affinity for Pakistan and Tadewul Musalmain." A year later, India had to resort to police action in Hyderabad. Patel had seen its inevitability from the beginning. He could not carry it out because of Mountbatten's opposition. By the time the police action was taken, Mountbatten had left India. It was now Nehru whose opposition Patel had to encounter. Earlier, the proposed standstill agreement had given Nizam time to conspire for his independence through backdoor diplomacy. He demanded that India's newly appointment and Agent General to Hyderabad, K.M. Munshi, should be only a trade agent. The Nizam seemed to be planning to have ambassadors between India and Hyderabad, indicating that Hyderabad was an independent country. His second demand was withdrawal of Indian troops and supply of arms and ammunition for Hyderabad army and police. And further, he wanted Hyderabad to be able to appoint agents in several foreign countries. Hyderabad had already appointed a public relations officer to Pakistan without reference to India. The Nizam was buying time. He explained this in a cable of 6 January 1948 to Monckton in London. "I agree with your opinion that there is no good of our hurrying up long-term agreement with the Indian Union at the beginning of the year, but to wait and see what further developments arise before we do it, namely towards the end of the year. Besides, we must see how Kashmir and Junagadh's case is going to be settled by UNO. After that, we can think over about our own affair." The Nizam wanted to further build up his armed strength through acquisition of more arms, completion of new airfields, and to initiate a large-scale program of converting Harijans to Islam, besides giving Ittihad ul Muslimin time to get Muslims to migrate to Hyderabad, and even induce ex-army Muslims or those in active service to join Hyderabad army. Patel had to tell Mountbatten that the period of 2 months which we have agreed to give the state to make up the mind is being utilized for preparation rather than for negotiation. I am convinced it would neither be proper nor polite for us to agree to any arrangement other than the instrument of accession already settled between us and the other states. The Nizam, realizing that Patel would not bamboozled into surrender even to the slightest extent, changed his strategy to bank on Nehru, who was more accommodating than Sardar Patel, and to pin his faith on the chance of having a better reception when C.R. Rajagopalachari becomes Governor General. The Nizam's expectations from the latter were due to his having in 1944 sponsored Gandhi Jinnah talks and subsequently advocated conceding of Pakistan. From his sick bed at Dehradun, where he had retired after his heart attack in 1948 March, Patel watched with exasperating helplessness the increasing intransigencies of Nizam, failure of Mountbatten's efforts, and a growing feeling that India was not in dead earnest to take action. This was the feeling spreading in Hyderabad. When Laik Ali called him on 16th April at Dehradun, Patel told him with stunning bluntness, "You know as well as I know where the power resides and with whom the fate of the negotiations must finally lie in Hyderabad." The gentleman, Qasim Rizvi, who seemed to dominate Hyderabad, has given his answer. He has categorically stated that if Indian dominion comes to Hyderabad, it will find nothing but the bones and ashes of 1.5 crore of Hindus. If that is the position, then it seriously undermines the whole future of Nizam and his dynasty. Patel made it clear that the Hyderabad problem will have to be settled as has been done in the case of other states. No other way is possible. We cannot agree to the continuance of isolated spot which would destroy the very union which we have built up with our blood and toil. At the same time, we do not wish to maintain friendly relations and to seek friendly solution. This does not mean that we shall ever agree to Hyderabad's independence. If its demand to maintain an independent status is persisted, it is bound to fail. Many reasons hardened Patel's attitude. On 26 March, Laik Ali told Munshi that the Nizam was willing to die a martyr and that he and lakhs of Muslims were willing to be killed. Immediately thereafter, Rizvi, in a speech on 31st March, indulged in a good deal of saber rattling and urged the Muslims of Hyderabad not to sheath their swords until their objective of Islamic supremacy had been achieved. He exhorted the Muslims to march forward with Quran in one hand and sword in the other to hound out the enemy. He even declared the 45 million Muslims in the Indian Union would be our fifth colonist in any showdown. Still worse, he asserted on 12th April, the day is not far off when the waves of the Bay of Bengal will be washing the feet of our sovereign, and that he would hoist the Asaf Ali flag on Red Fort in Delhi.